can only watch it for the first time once. It'll be interesting to see what we catch and what we don't.
Did you ever play the video game Mass Effect?
This is where Babylon 5 is becoming Babylon 5.
That was great. I love that.
100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5.
I love it so much.
We're officially into it, Jeff.
The year is 2025. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the second time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the second time. My name is Brent Allen.
And I'm Jeff Akin. You see, Brent and I used to be Star Trek podcasters, but then we watched Babylon 5 for the first time, and everything changed. Now, we're watching this incredible series for the second time, paying attention to all the things we didn't know about the first time around.
And don't worry, folks, because I know you were absolutely worried. Like, are they still going to look for the sci-fi messages? Yes, folks, we are, because that's what we do. We're going to be asking what this episode is trying to tell us, maybe a little bit different from the last time around. Is it giving us a mirror to society? Is it giving us hope that things can be better in the future? Is it telling us how to be better human beings to one another? All of that being said, Jeff and I have seen this episode before. We've seen the entirety of Babylon 5. So at this point, from this point forward, Jeff, all spoilers are on the table. This is your warning. Jeff and I could speak of any episode, any character from any part of the entire franchise, whether it's been on screen or in a book or any other place. We could talk about stuff that's happened at cons. We could talk about it all at any point. This is your spoiler warning. If you've never seen Babylon 5 before, please go back and join Jeff and I on our first watch at Babylon 5 for the first time. It's right here on the YouTube channel or in the same podcast feed that you're listening to us right now. And just know that spoilers abound. And when you're done with that, then join us here for the second watch, because this is an entirely different animal.
Hey, Brent.
Hey, Jeff.
We have a 5-star review.
Oh, yes.
It's been a while since we've done these, and I want to catch up a little bit. It's so great. I'm gonna share two of these today. First one was a 5-star review from Apple Podcasts. Dings41. I love these names.
All right.
Dings41 says, love the breakdown of all the episodes and genuine conversations about all the other things that make B5 one of the greatest sci-fi series of all time.
I like it. I like to think we have genuine conversations there, Jeff.
I think we do.
But the thing that I have to agree with this most is that Babylon 5 is one of the greatest sci-fi series of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the people who are joining us live here for our recording of our episode of TKO, we have a special group joining us. Typically, our council chambers are here. They're here with us yet again. But, we're limited in the number of seats that we have available for these things. We actually had some extra seats that we could roll over, and we were able to use it. And so we extended that offer down to all of our patrons that are also on the Discord channel. So they are joining us for this particular episode as well. So we'd like to say hello and welcome to all of you guys there. Also to all of our patrons who are going to be getting this, the full thing over on Patreon. Hello to all of you guys. And thank you so much for your continued support of the show.
Absolutely. Today, Brent, this is a big, big moment in Babylon 5 for the second time. This is the episode where Jeff first planted a flag for an episode. It's TKO. My advocacy, my passion pushed this to be ranked number 4 in our immutable and objectively correct ranking of the first season for the first time. Mm-hmm. And the question today is going to be, where does it land when we watch it the second time?
It is the heightened question, I think, around this episode. Like, the theme of this episode is not what will Jeff and Brent think of this episode of the second time around. It's, is Jeff going to dig his heels in, or is he going to finally see the light and the truth about this episode? That's what people really want to know. Brent is just along for the ride on this one.
You have plenty of really important stuff to add as well. We're going to have a great conversation. It's going to be good.
Yes.
And I'm going to be the paragon of objectivity during this thing. I remember on the first watch, I loved this episode. Like, I loved it from go. And I want to, full disclosure, I think I might have shared this last week, but I have watched this episode after the first time. It's been a good 2 years since I've seen it. But when we were watching in the first season, I went back and watched this, I think, 2 times, because I really enjoy it. Do you remember what you thought of this the first time you watched it?
I do. I remember this episode being so cheesy and so stupid. So much to the point that we got a Zima sign, a big ass Zima sign in the background of this episode. And we got some line, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's Walker sitting there like, hey man, this is really starting to cheese me off, or just some stupid, like it was supposed to be a curse word, but you couldn't do cuss words on network TV. So they changed it was something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember that coming out of this episode and just cringing and groaning. The fighting in this episode, the makeup, the costumes, the teeny tiny little ring that they're fighting in. It was all cheesy. And then I also remember this incredibly beautiful story with Ivanova, ostensibly the B plot of the episode, and thinking this really should have been the A plot of the episode. There's a rabbi that oversteps his bounds that made me love him so much. I have repeatedly said over the years, I want this guy in my life. I want a rabbi, even though I'm not Jewish. And I hope that's okay. I also remember thinking that I thought it was beautiful how the two stories actually intersected with the fight scene with Walker, I think was his name, and Ivanova having her own fight of internal grief and struggle, and how the two go back and forth, how they juxtapose against each other. And I just thought they mirrored each other so beautifully. Ultimately, I liked this episode, and the cheesy didn't matter to me. Like, it was cheesy. I'm going to confess that it was cheesy, but it didn't matter because of what they did with it. And so while it may not end up as a well-loved episode or even a very entertaining episode, because this episode again, it still gets high marks for me on an artistic perspective, which counts really big in my world. That's my memory of it. Now, that being said, Jeff, something else I also remember being aware of over the rest of our run through Babylon 5, the further we got away from TKO and I could only go back and think about it in my memory, the less I liked it every time I thought about it.
You, sir, went back and listened to our first time.
I did.
What did you get out of that?
I did. It always feels so weird because I'm like, here's what I have to separate what I remember before I listen to things to reconfirm. Like, I write my thing before I listen, just
okay,
so
that's fair.
So it's truly here's what I remembered. We had a lot to say about this episode, Jeff.
Yeah.
This was a longish episode for us as we go in. Jeff, no surprise. You actually declared this as your favorite episode of the series so far.
Right from go. Look at that.
Yeah, you did.
After Signs and Portents, too. Like, what a slap in the face to the fans.
You questioned, you had this big question if the Mutari were an alien species or a group of ninjas. That's what you wanted to know. Are they an alien species or
These are the questions. These are the B5 questions we need.
Yeah.
That's a dropped thread. Add it to the list.
Boy, another thing that went not at all the way you and I thought it was going to go when we did it. The guy playing, I forget the name of the champion, the current champion, but the big guy who does the fight at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember who that is?
He was somebody, but I don't know who it is. Yeah, he was
James Jude Courtney. He's the guy that played Michael Myers.
That's right.
But he also in like real life was like a MMA fighter, like a legit. Yeah. And like right there in the midst of it, I went onto the Babylon 5 fan wiki page for the episode to look him up. Again, I don't think we were so tight on our no spoilers. Although I will say it is possible to go to those pages to look up certain actors and not go into the spoiler stuff. And certainly that happened a time or two, and not getting into the spoiler stuff. Like, it requires self-discipline, and we exercise that. By the way, do you want to know what the Babylon 5 fan wiki page said about James Jude Courtney?
What?
His entire page just went, he is an actor. That's great.
There you go. Thanks for that. Like, at least he's got something, you know?
Yeah. You expressed a lot of admiration for how Jewish people were portrayed throughout the course of this episode, and you had a lot of personal experiences that you were able to bring in, and you loved how, especially compared to how a lot of times Jewish people are portrayed, or the Jewish culture is portrayed in science fiction. So you really enjoyed that. I also started a touchy subject here.
Okay.
That you and I would later have to go on and somewhat repent over a little bit. But I questioned out loud, of course, and this is my own ignorance, to the situation that was going on with Michael O'Hare as an actor in real life. But for the first time, I verbally said, is he just a bad actor, or is he actually a really good actor playing this character who's really, really stiff? And I couldn't tell which one it was. And so, you and I would go on to have this conversation over the next bunch of episodes until we did eventually learn the truth of what was going on with him and how unfortunate that was. And we're like, we're going to take hands off on that and apologize for that. So anyway, but that started here. And then one last one that I had here, Jeff, we talked a lot in this episode about the power of forgiveness
already
in this episode. And it was replete. In fact, you and I both gave this one 5 deltas on the messages.
Okay.
Based on what it's talking about with the theme of forgiveness. And I'd list out all the different places where forgiveness pops up, and I want to say it. So let's look for it when we go through here. There's Walker having to ask Garibaldi for forgiveness. There's the rabbi having to ask for Ivanova's forgiveness for overstepping his bounds. There's Ivanova needing to forgive her father in order for her to grieve. And then we had to see him asking her for forgiveness. Like they reshot the scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the bigger one, which actually I thought this one was really cool. The people forgave Walker.
Right.
Because remember, like he got railroaded and people thought that he was just this miscreant and drug user and whatever. And he turned into actually a public hero again, which meant the people got over it and they forgave
cheering him and everything. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, that's just something like, as we go through this episode, bearing that in mind, that was such a big thing for us in the first round. We'll keep an eye out and see if that actually really is a big thing as we go through this episode or not.
Cool.
Now, Jeff, I went back and listened to the episode just to see what we said.
Mm-hmm.
You, my friend, scoured the spoiler-free Lurkers Guide.
Yes.
Is there anything JMS had to say about this episode that maybe we didn't know about the first time around?
He didn't say a lot on this one, which
I'm sorry. Andrew says, and the audience forgave JMS for making this episode.
Such a meta message, right? Like it went all the way.
Right.
So, he talked a little bit about the Zima thing, right? He said, and we knew part of this already, but he said, we got not a dime for sticking in the Zima sign. We just thought it'd be funny.
Really?
Actually, yeah.
Well, they were right about that.
Right? It's the thing everyone still talks about.
Yeah.
And our buddies over at the Yum Yum podcast put the gif out of Walker Smith doing the thumbs up in front of the Zima thing. So on that place we used to go for a social media site, but don't very often. Actually, I've been there in a long time, but it's just easily came up for you. So thanks, Yum Yum.
Thank you, Yum Yum podcast.
It says, actually the idea of what you got.
I think they were contacting us about something, and because we never go on that app anymore, I think we dropped that contact. If you guys are listening, we're so sorry, and we should go check that out.
Go check it out.
Go ahead. Not right now. Sorry.
He goes on to say, actually, the idea of Zima lasting even into 1995 is hysterical. I keep fighting the urge to have some guy show up on Babylon 5 and say, "So then I says to him, nice station," and 5 Narns just jump on him and beat the out of him. He talks a little bit about the Ivanova storyline and sitting Shiva, and says that he's told that Shiva need not last a full 7 days. The death was not recent, and if the body has already been buried. He caught some heat, I'm guessing, in the comments about some of the application of the Jewish tradition, that being one of them. And then he also talks about the trial, because they're eating trial kosher discussion.
Okay.
He says, I can only shrug. Nobody's ever shown that Jews go forward into the future, place them at the heart of a science fiction show as a regular character, and no one's ever shown Shiva before in, or possibly out, of a sci-fi series. And some folks are complaining that not every aspect of a trial's kosherness was discussed at dinner time. Some days, you just can't win.
Wow.
And that's what JMS had to say. Every episode is somebody's first episode, and I tell you what, you pick TKO as your first, you're my kind of person. I dig it. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to watch us watch the episode. It's going to be right here, and we're going to watch it, and we're going to talk about it and do the reaction thing, edit it up for you so you can watch it there on YouTube. If you want to see the full thing, all the conversation we have beforehand, all the mess ups that you haven't seen here on YouTube or heard on the audio app, because we're so smooth. We're so flawless. But if you want to see how flawless we are, you can check us out on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Babylon5 first. That's the number 5 and the word first.
And if you're listening to us on the audio side of things, on a podcasting app or, I don't know, Audible or some other place, you're going to hear the reaction. And then Jeff and I are going to meet you guys on the other side where we're going to share our thoughts. We'll talk about any new messages that we might have come out with or anything like that. So, Jeff, let's go watch an episode.
Let's watch TKO. Let's do it.
Accessing file.
Stand by. We'll be right back. Are you ready to take your Babylon 5 for the first time experience to the next level? With our exclusive Patreon, you'll get access to all kinds of cool stuff that you can only find there. Our recording notes, unedited reaction videos, an exclusive Discord community. And you can even be listed as a producer of the show. Plus, we even offer exclusive meet and greets and hangouts. You won't find this kind of experience anywhere else. Get all these amazing benefits, plus the opportunity to interact with other fans from around the world. It's being part of a huge community where everyone shares the same appreciation for Babylon 5. Subscribe at patreon.com/Babylon5 first. That's the number 5 and the word first to get access to these incredible benefits. That's patreon.com/Babylon5 first. We can't wait to see you there.
White Star arriving from Earth is now docking in
White Star?
Passengers.
Whoa! They called it the White Star.
It's Liner White Star.
Wow.
And here comes the villain for the week.
Yeah. Wasn't White Star, wasn't that also the line that had the Titanic?
It's not every day you meet a man with such
The White Star line? I think it was.
Same here, Rabbi. Take care. Shalom.
All right, who's this alien, Jeff?
Slappers. With a med lab seal yet. And I bet you two beauties are a couple of brain surgeons, huh?
Wow, that is...
Ow!
Stolen slappers.
One of these days, Garibaldi, you're gonna learn to watch your back.
Oh,
Whoa!
there's the thing.
Whoa!
There's the thing.
It's a thing. It's because you and I know that Sinclair tells him to watch his back in Babylon Squared.
But this is the one that matters.
Because he's going to get shot in the back in Chrysalis, right? Like we've known that. I didn't know this.
Right?
Like this is a thing for him.
Here. It's like
he doesn't watch his back.
And look at him smiling. I got that. I'm good.
I like the fact they already got the Z in the background right up here.
It's a little precursor. It's getting us ready.
Suzanne says in our first time video, we mentioned the watch your back and wondered if it was going to be a thing. And you and I were both like, nah, not a thing.
Andrei's death was a great sorrow for all of us. Before he died, he entrusted me with a legacy. Your legacy. I was going to give it to you after his funeral.
Did we ever find out what this is?
The station was in a crisis.
What is?
What the legacy is, the thing he's going to give her?
Of course, you're a military officer in an important position. Duty must come first.
Is this episode written by JMS?
No, Larry DiTilio.
So,
Okay.
you sat Shiva here.
I haven't sat Shiva.
Yeah, funny thing about that, Rabbi.
Done. I'll sit with you. I'll arrange everything.
I'm afraid I can't. My duties here are very extensive. I just don't have the time. Besides, it's been several months. There's no point.
There's always a point. I like that. He doesn't like argue with her at all. He's just like,
I'm staying over in the sanctuary area in, what do you call it?
Blue 3. I'll take you there.
No.
The sanctuary area. Do we ever hear about that again?
But you will have dinner with me tonight.
Of course. I'll come by at 2000.
Dinner at 8 o'clock. That's late, man.
that's very late.
That's late.
I usually stop eating by 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Such mishigas. You've done well, Suzachka. Andrei was very proud of you, and so am I.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, and you dropped the uncle.
Oh, yay.
And she's like, oh no, the guilt.
I wonder, was there just a special relationship with him and her family? Or is that typically how Jewish parishioners, I guess, are with their rabbis? Like,
this is the thing, man. Like, I don't know how it is in like for people in synagogue or things like that. I don't know, especially in the future. But like there was a time that was every religious community. You just had each other's backs, you know? And like the pastor was a pastor or whatever. And if there was a need, people showed up to fill that need. And it's just not how things have worked for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
And it makes me sad. Like seeing this is like, wouldn't that be something if like you had a bad thing happen in your family and your rabbi or your priest or your reverend or whatever was like, hey.
I mean, I've certainly been on that side of it before, you know, but I've never had that relationship with a pastor that becomes an uncle. Now I've got an incredibly close friend of mine who's a pastor, and he is a personal friend, like from a very long time ago. And my kids would call him uncle.
Okay.
And our daughters call each other sisters. Like that is a closeness that extends beyond the pastor parishioner. He's not my pastor either, but you know, like that would extend beyond that particular relationship. It's just in general, it's weird to me. So I don't know.
Nia in the chat says it's not unheard of.
Not unheard of. Okay, very good. I'll take Nia's word on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Source of authority.
And then Becky says wow. Becky says my actual uncle is a pastor.
There you go.
They call me uncle whatever.
Now, if you could possibly grant her a few days' leave.
Certainly. She can take as much time as she needs.
I love how he's just no hesitation.
I will tell Susan at dinner tonight. By the way, this Babylon 5 of yours, Nescadol, a great miracle.
Thank you.
Was that inappropriate? Like to sit down and talk about Ivanova like that with her not in the room or knowing that conversation was happening?
I don't think so.
No? Mm-mm. Yeah, I'm not sure. It just felt like it felt a little weird.
It might be with today's, what we might say, sensibilities, you know, and our focus on consent. But I think, I don't think so. You know, I don't think he said anything to Sinclair that was like confidential. No, like confidential information, you know, like he didn't betray any trust there. Just explained what's going on. What I appreciate about this is this is not gossip. You know, if you define gossip as you're talking about situations with people who have no impact on the outcome, they can't fix it. They weren't a part of the problem at all. Sinclair can help fix it. He's got to give time off. Like he needs to understand. So I think it was actually rather appropriate now that you asked that question, but I can see why it might feel a little icky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and over in the chat with our Patreon folks that have joined us, there's some good conversation on both sides of it. And kind of a theme in a couple of them is that well-intentioned, but sometimes inappropriate meddling can be very in character.
And I remember saying, and I'm still going to stick by this because I still feel this way. I want somebody to meddle in my life like that. You know, like I do. I want somebody to do that for me.
You do, but what I know of Ivanova, she does not.
No, but
I also love, like, as we're frozen here and you can see Sinclair's face, like, one, again, I think he looks tired, but also, like, he feels like he's doing something good for someone, like a friend. You know, they're coworkers, but they're friends.
You know, I know we talked about whether or not he's a good actor or not, or if he's just wooden and stiff. I don't feel like he's wooden and stiff so far.
Yeah, I don't either.
In this episode. Maybe later on as we go, but I don't feel like it right now. And I think that's just testament to how you and I have come around on his performance here in the second watch through.
Yeah, big time.
He was so terribly afraid of losing you as he lost Sophie and Ganya.
He lost me long before that.
Is that why you won't sit Shiva?
No, I told you my duties won't allow it. We've got 3 trade convoys due by Saturday and...
Funny thing.
Sinclair seems to think he can handle it. And he said you could have as much time as you need.
You spoke to the commander about this?
She's not mad that he went and spoke to the commander.
I have done that.
She's not mad about what he did. She is mad. She is scared and mad about having to actually sit Shiva.
To face
and her
reality.
excuse is now gone.
I don't need anyone to take his
That's
place now that he's gone.
The word she's saying here is not actually the real feelings there.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it's that, like how it's to face reality, and she's feeling out of control. People are making decisions for me, and they're decisions I'm scared to make.
Well, and she did verbalize that. People have been trying to control me my whole life, and you're not going to control me. And in this case, he's trying to push her to go towards this thing, which is good for her. Sometimes you got to make kids eat their vegetables, though.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And as rabbi, that's how he sees it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were negotiating the Euphrates Treaty at the time. I was needed here.
Do you remember the Euphrates Treaty?
Yeah, that was
But
around
since
the
we
Regesh 3
find
stuff.
Now I'm
And
granting
that's
you
they,
indefinite leave to sit shiva for your father.
that's what Veer ended up being able to negotiate, and Kodoth were able to show.
Gotcha.
Him yeah.
May I return to my post?
No, you may not. Have a chair.
Dude, he is so
That's an order.
soft-spoken on this with her. I love it. Like, because, Sinclair can get real deep. Like, he can get real, and commanding. And here
You're the
he's
best
so
officer
soft
I've ever
as he
served
goes
with,
through it.
Your Honor.
I love it.
I couldn't run this station without you. Your father's dead. You need to express your grief or it'll eat you up.
Tell her. Yeah.
I appreciate your concern, Commander. Now, if I may return to my duty?
Okay, let's have this conversation, Jeff.
Okay.
Let's juxtapose how Rabbi Koslov approached this versus how Sinclair approached this.
Okay.
Because they both did the same thing, right?
Right.
They
Just
both
from
were like, you're going to do this. You should do this. I'm telling you to do this as your friend, as somebody who cares about you. But they both approach this in very different ways. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because I think Rabbi was approaching it as if she was, little Susan.
Yeah.
This is the right thing to do. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Sinclair's taking the friend approach. These are and really it's such a great message. These are your feelings, and you have to feel your feelings, and you have to express them. I think that the rabbi was more focused on this is the thing you should do, and it's for your family, whereas Sinclair's just so focused on like, I'm worried about you, and you have to feel what's going on. I like that so much better. Like,
well, I think the difference is, and just to put it in these words that you were kind of getting down, Rabbi Koslov treated her like a little girl. Sinclair treated her like a full-grown woman, like a full-grown adult.
Yeah.
But notice the difference in how she responded. She responded out of it. She was saying the same thing to both of them. And it wasn't being angry and mad necessarily at either one of them. It was, I don't want to do this, and my choice is my own. Right? Like, she said that verbally to both of them, but she was able to approach it much calmer with him because he treated her like an adult with respect. Whereas Rabbi Koslov, and this is probably more just due to the personal nature. I mean, Jeff, will you ever be able to see your daughter as not your daughter?
Oh, she'll be my little baby forever.
Exactly. And Rabbi Koslov, because I think he's Uncle Kosel to her, right? She's still always, that's where he's going to be. And I don't know that either one of them are wrong. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Because they have two different relationships with her coming from it. It's just one works better than the other.
And it's interesting how TV interjects itself here, because I think there's a level with Sinclair, there's a level of professional inappropriateness. Like, he's her commanding officer. There's a power dynamic there that makes this a difficult conversation. It makes it more difficult for her to say, I'm making my own choice.
Yeah, right.
I think there should, it isn't wrong, but there should have been hey, Susan, as friends, like, I feel this thing. Because there is a different way you would approach this as a manager or a commanding officer or something, in terms of just like, very important to me that you do whatever it is you need to do to take care of yourself. If that means time, if that means reassignment, if that means whatever, I'm here to facilitate whatever that is. If you need to talk, I'm here to talk. It's just a different approach. But yeah, I think both are right. I think Sinclair's a little more effective.
Sinclair's was a lot more effective.
A lot, yeah. He's connecting with the actual person instead of the memory
But
of the person.
It's interesting that I think you put it in a really great way. The difference is you treat one like an adult versus treating them like the kid that you see them as. And
Susan, before you make that choice, make sure you know what it is you're really feeling.
Yeah.
Is that a donut?
It's good. What is it?
Yolk tree. Fried tree worm.
He did anyway.
Yeah, if you liked it.
Of blood comes Lukar of the Drazi, the bravest of his race.
You and I would have heard somebody of the Drazi and had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
And now comes the Shorin, master of the Motai, bravest of the brave, Gior.
We never see these aliens again after this episode, do we?
No.
So you got a yellow belt and a red belt going at it. I wonder if the belts have some significance that we think of in martial arts today.
I think that most of them have yellow belts except Shorin. Shorin is to wear the red belt.
There's a Mercury. We just saw Mercury. All right. How's this fighting choreography?
It's actually really great.
I don't feel like that's as bad as I thought it was.
No.
I really don't.
Here's the thing. It's not fights like this can be so corny. They can be so bad, but they have like these tight shots in. So there's not a lot of room for mess up. They've got space to hit everything they need to hit. The sound effects are in line with what's going on. Like, this is a really well produced television fight. Like, if this was a movie, right, it'd be more flashy stuff, but the still angles they've got.
The Shorin triumphs and remains.
Michael Myers.
Big dude.
Who is brave enough to challenge Szechuan?
Szechuan?
Are you
I'd
nuts?
go for some Szechuan.
Didn't you see what just happened in there?
It's my only shot, Mike.
That's kind of, he just fought a fight and you're going to turn around and offer him up to somebody else in the audience?
It's like money in the bank.
Gotta
cash in.
Except the outcome might not be as predetermined.
Right. That might be 10 feet.
People do not walk in the sands of blood.
They fear the Shorin, but I am the bravest of my race.
Sorry, Mike. Man, you're gonna be a lot sorry when you step in there with that planet bus.
What I really like is they've set up how Walker is just this massive racist.
What's your problem, pal?
But right here, you're getting the same on him.
Make mockery of our customs.
You're human and you're in here, you're making a mockery of us.
But humans have no place in the Mutai. It is ours, and we will not let you dishonor it. Not now. Not ever.
So we're getting a lot of cultural rub in both stories right now.
The samovar. I blame him for denying me his love. Even his mama became incapable of giving me hers. I needed him, Yossel, and he wasn't there.
And now that he has left for good, you cannot forgive him?
It's a forgiveness.
No, I can't.
This is an important line right here.
Then the tragedy is greater than I thought.
Yeah.
Without forgiveness, you cannot mourn, and without mourning, you can never let go of the pain.
I have to go on duty.
You cannot run away from your own heart, Susan.
This is him saying exactly what Sinclair said.
Thank you for bringing the samovar. I'll see you before you leave.
Paul brings out a good idea. Do we ever see the samovar chilling in Ivanova's quarters, like in future episodes? Yeah, keep an eye out for that.
I do really appreciate the Jewish tradition in that, like, at no point in there was he like, if you don't do these things, your father can't truly rest.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah, so many other faiths, you do things for the other, the soul or the whatever the person. Jewish faith is like, no, you got to take care of you. Like, let's make sure you're still good.
But Susan does what so many people do. Ivanova does what so many people do. She hides behind her work.
Yeah, keeps it going.
Did well last night, Arthur.
I want you to know how proud I am of you, Susan. But a father should give his daughter love as well as respect. And in that I failed you. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
It's a good apology. I mean, don't wait till for your deathbed to say those things, but he said them. Oh, it's good work by the soundtrack there.
Yeah.
Stay. Help me sit Shiva.
I was not a fan of the edit there.
No,
because she's having this moment. She's like, Uncle Yossel, and then it cuts to her walking up to him. Stay, help me, said Shiva. Like,
yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. That's not working. That's not working.
In sports, Babylon
Doesn't
5
answer
is
the
about
question
to be the site
again.
of a history-making event as ex-Sports Corp boxing star Walker Smith prepares to be
Not a
the
fan of the font of the word sports back there. There's the Zima
I'll
sign.
tell you, Mike, history. I'm gonna turn in. See you tomorrow, buddy.
I missed the stroke off, which sounds really awful and inappropriate.
You're the best I've ever seen.
Here it is. Yes.
With the Zima sign right there.
Yep. So perfectly blocked.
May I have a word?
Of course.
I'd like to take your offer of leave.
Granted.
Thank you.
He does look a little high right now.
Yes, sir?
Yeah.
I believe it's customary for friends to pay their respects during Shiva. I'll see you there.
I'd like that.
So I like that, where he's like, friends, right? Like, let's define what relationship I'm leaning on right now.
It's because of this episode and because of what Sinclair did there that when a Jewish buddy of mine, when his mother died, I felt the courage, I guess, to go to the funeral and be a part of that.
And above all, to peace.
One of the things I remarked in the first watch is this whole thing that goes back and forth with Walker doing this fight, this thing of violence, where Ivanova is sitting Shiva for a man of peace.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just an interesting side by side.
Just to put some exclamation points on what I was saying earlier, Paul in the chat says the movie Amadeus, one musician struggling on each note, the other just letting the music sing. And then Mega, beautiful. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another.
Yeah.
You're talking about the difference between here's violence and here's a peaceful man. I think that Ivanova has been experiencing her own violence.
Yes. This is what I've been saying since we watched this for the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
Ivanova has her own fight that is going on within her on the inside.
Yep.
Whereas Walker is having this fight that is going on the outside. And that's what makes the artistry of this episode stand so far and above almost any other episode. What's going on in the ring with Walker is metaphor for the internal struggle that's going on with Ivanova. Whatever else you think about this episode, the artistry of how they pieced this together is phenomenal to me.
And I think the fight they're fighting is very similar. They've set up this Walker Smith story very plainly. They've laid it out. I'm a racist. We are exclusionary. I'm going to learn your ways and then ultimately come to respect. But that's the same thing happening within Susan. I'm going to say Susan on this. I am an Earth Force lieutenant commander. I am a Russian Jew. I am a daughter. She has these cultural intersections that are exclusionary to each other, and she realizes through this that they can actually all be together, and they can all be together.
You don't have to be a compartmentalized human being. You can actually be an integrated person.
Yeah, and we're seeing this occur in both stories, beat for beat.
Yeah,
when you do, and keep moving. Don't let them trap you.
This time.
It is time. Okay, Rafiki.
Papa took my hand, and he turned, and as we walked out, he said to me, "It was a good question, Dushenka."
I like how this is reframing her memories of it.
I was just thinking that. Because of being able to say Shiva, she's now able to think of other memories as she remembers her father.
Walker Smith of Earth, the bravest of his race.
The guy,
the white guy there. He's like, "Whoa, me?"
This guy's the guy to watch. He's like, "Oh, filthy human."
Bravest of the brave.
You know, Soontek O looks so stiff.
Yeah.
Under all this costume and makeup, he's all like,
first fight's the championship fight. Pretty big deal.
Well, his fist came around super fast.
So this is the point where like Walker Smith's doubt and his not belonging is shown. Eeyore's just working him over because he is foreign to this. Trying to find his footing, but can't do it.
Oh, he's cut.
Karapa's like, maybe I shouldn't be Katao. The things I know aren't working. I can't come in this as what I am. I have to bridge the gap. Look like that.
Hey, he got a little something on that one.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing blow.
No one makes me bleed my own blood. The mule. But see, he's changed up his style a little bit. He's realizing he has to be more.
Garibaldi, I have a pickup for you in the Muay Thai.
See, I do find it a little unbelievable that he goes from as inept as he was at the beginning of the fight to just kicking ass this quickly in the middle of the fight.
Really?
Although they're limited on time for the episode, but still.
Yeah, but also I think like part of the story is he can take a beating, right? You know, he's resilient, thick skin, all the things. But I think that's part of the thing. You go in, you fail a couple of times.
Yeah.
Adjust, come back at it and do it differently. And yeah, they just had to do it a little quicker than normal, but like in a fight that happens instantaneously sometimes.
Though it's traditional to recite the morning prayer in Hebrew, I would like to read it in English tonight.
I loved this.
My good friend Jeffrey
Yeah.
Sinclair.
I loved this. The first time around, I talked about this a lot. The fact that she's going to break a little tradition for the sake of her
O
friend
God,
who was
full
there.
of compassion,
And
who
for
dwellest
us
on high,
listening as well.
grant perfect rest beneath the sheltering winds of thy divine presence, among the holy pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament. To Andre, my father, who has gone to his eternal home.
See, look. See, okay. So to your piece, okay, the beginning of the fight, Walker is out of place. He's out of disjointed. The beginning of Shiva, Ivanova is just sort of sitting there and she's kind of jovially just, Rabbi Koslov's doing his little speech at the beginning, right? And she's just like, whatever. Walker comes in and he kind of starts adjusting and finding a spot. She starts sharing the stories and having better memories, and now she's going through this whole piece fighting this. I mean, she's in the fight of her life right now on the inside, right? With the struggle. She has held on to her anger and resentment for him for so much. And what did she just say? To a father whom I loved.
Yes.
Right. So, I'm going to stand by what I've always said. The two match up.
I can see it more plainly this time too. It's just hers.
And that moment right there. Yeah. I had that moment when my dad passed away, my biological father.
Yeah.
I talked about that in the other episode. So I'll let you guys go listen to that there. I won't rehash it here.
But just the acting, Claudia Christian right there is so real. And I think this is where I think some people get mired up in this episode. The Ivanova story has nuance. There's acting. There's actual internal struggles in both in Rabbi Kozlov, in Ivanova. There's real stuff happening. In the Mutai story, it is right there. Here is the thing. There is no nuance. It's just boom, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. But I think that actually heightens the impact of the nuance, right? It's not.
I've been saying this for 2 years now, Jeff. Yeah. Yes.
I even love that their blood is a different color.
I'm just glad that the Shorin's blood is not green.
Yeah, but it's just highlighting these are different people coming together.
One of the criticisms I had in the first run, and I'm going to re-highlight it here, is the sound effect they're using for these punches. It's the same effect over and over. It's just hitting the same button again and again. It's not different effects at all. It's just...
they're different. They're different.
No.
You got boom, crack, whoom.
Listen, this is not Batman, okay, dude? Lay off. Kadow.
I just don't like how you can't throw punches like that and just keep taking it. That's just not physically possible.
It is done.
All right, this thing was supposed to be to the death.
It's over.
What did he just put on his wrist?
Slapper. Probably a pain thing.
Look at his hand. Let's see his hands all bloodied up and everything. Take your belt off and give it to him. There's Akmara. There's a Jakar. A Narn.
It's total Rocky IV moment right here. And here's the thing. Rocky IV ended the Cold War. Yes, this is a TV show, so it's not as big, but it's the same thing.
Well, Mega just posted over here in our chat. The Mutai advanced human-alien relations more than any diplomatic meeting could.
100%.
I don't think he's wrong about that. Ivanova looks lighter.
Good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just double shifts.
Well, perhaps you'll remember that next time Ms. Sakai visits the station.
Yeah.
Stick around for a while. Now that you're not in training,
Remember her? Remember that lady?
Round 6 we can haunt.
I heal better in real air.
Walker Smith, you fought well in the Mutai. From now on, humans may enter the ring as brothers to all Mutari.
If you ever return to the Mutai, I will stand Katal for you.
I wouldn't want anyone else.
Garibaldi's right
here.
There.
See you when I come back for the rematch.
There's a whole other parallel here that I didn't catch before. The power of mentorship for both people, right? You've got Dude, and then with Rabbi, there's just that whole, I'm a person who's a couple steps ahead of you. I've had my moment, and now I'm going to help. I'm telling you, every facet of this story, we've said this so many times, but watching it, here it is. Every facet of the story.
Something I haven't done until you just mentioned that is the comparison between Rabbi Koslov and the Mutado.
Yeah.
Because they're effectively serving the same purpose, right?
They are, yes. Yeah.
I mean, as you say, I guess maybe even Caliban and Rabbi Koslov, but they're facilitating the fight, so to speak, giving the person permission to have the fight.
Yeah. And
even when they
correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
with honor and respect, right? Mutado just says that, but Kozlov is leading things in the same way. Honor and respect for yourself and for the relationship you had with your dad.
I like it.
Watch your back.
Watch your back.
The best I've ever seen.
I'm floored by this one.
Right?
I'm floored by that. That's the biggest revelation I've had out of this whole friggin' episode, man.
And especially when it's literally just like, there's the exclamation point on the whole thing.
Oh, my word.
Well, Brent, we just watched this for the second time, TKO.
Yeah.
I got to tell you a thing. I told you I was going to be the paragon of objectivity in this.
You did say that.
I didn't like this episode as much as I did the first time.
I do not believe that's true. You liked it. No, here, wait. You didn't like it as much as you did the first time. You liked it more.
No, actually, no.
Really?
I'd say I appreciate it more. I can see the mirror between the storylines so much more clearly now. I also, looking at it, would make the case that the A story is Ivanova's story. Like, that's the real story in this. Just because it started and ended on the Mutado, the Mutai piece, doesn't necessarily mean it's the... But the only reason, like, that really hit me in this one, I think somebody said it in the chat in here, but outside of that one whoosh of the soundtrack when Ivanova ran to Kozlov, the soundtrack in here was not good. It was corny. And I think it like sucked the life out of it. Like it sucked the life out of the end, that ending scene. It sounded awful. Someone earlier in the chat also said that this might be the most 90s episode of Babylon 5. Totally agree. And I think the soundtrack is part of it. Yeah. It detracted from it. That said, it's still a damn good episode. Any highlights for you?
I am going to go back to my original statement about this episode. I really like this episode. I'm gonna say it. I really like this episode. The further I get away from this episode, while I kind of look back on it and think it's goofy, I'm gonna tell you what, I didn't think the fighting was really all that cheesy in this episode. I really didn't.
Yeah, it was not.
I did not. I do think that he came around really quick on figuring out how to fight him the way that you were explaining it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's constraints of television show. I'm not gonna hold that against it. The stroke off thing, which you and I both missed because we talked over it.
Yeah.
But still, that's just goofy and cheesy. Zima is just fun. But the episode, it's a solid episode. I don't care what y'all say out there. And this is my second time seeing it.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid episode. Is it a top 10 episode of the whole season? Maybe not, but it's holding its own, Mm-hmm. I mean, it's top. Well, I don't know. I'd have to look at the whole rest of the season.
Yeah, we got more work to do there. But...
Season 1 of Babylon 5 is really terrific.
It really is.
It's got a handful of that wasn't a great episode. I'll tell you what, this is not one of them. This is not one of them. And I'm going to stick by what they meant or what they did in this episode, the artistry that this episode shows, the way that they show the Jewish custom of Shiva, which is not done. It certainly wasn't done before, and we haven't seen it been done since. I might be out there somewhere on some film that I'm unaware of, but for the most part, in normal pop culture, the greater thing, we've never seen it. You are not wrong to say that the whole fight sequence and stuff, it tells its own story as it goes through. You're not wrong when you say that. This is a good episode.
Yeah, I think so. And I think I don't want to take anything away from people who don't appreciate combat as a story. That's a very valid point. To utilize violence as a form of storytelling, if that's anathema or I get that. That's 100% valid for those of us that see violence as a way. And the thing is violence, right? And violence can show up in a lot of ways, and it's physical violence. But the thing is, with so many, when it's a sport, I don't think of it so much as violence. I think of violence as being chaotic and out of control. I don't know what's going to happen, and it's so violent. The violent wins. The violence of an abuser, or it's like I don't know what's coming. Whereas in combat, what's up, right? Like yes, it is a form of violence, but it's they're not apples and apples. But also, I acknowledge the personal feelings and totally validate them. If you're not that person and you don't see what we've been talking about in this, I'm begging you to watch this again and literally just take your preconceived notions and set them aside. because this is a really well done episode. And I'll even go so far as to say this. If you think this is not good or bad, and you like A Late Delivery from Avalon, I want you to do some introspection. They're both full of cheese. They're full of camp, right? This one tells a good story, though, and tells it well. Late Delivery from Avalon tried to tell a good story. It did not do it well.
But the actor, but the guy.
Yeah, the guy. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox.
Dylan does bring up a little bit of a good point over here in our chat. Says the fighting plot felt overdone back in the 90s, from Rocky to Karate Kid. We've been doing this plot line a lot. So to bring it into an episode just felt overdone by 1994, 95, whenever this came out. So I could maybe understand what you're saying there. I'll tell you one of the things that's interesting to me, Jeff, as often as we've talked about this episode with other people, we've seen comments. We get this one comment. Dylan actually just said it there, and I've seen it half a dozen times in tonight's comments chat, and I've seen it 6 dozen times in our comments on YouTube and Patreon. The Ivanova storyline is great. The fighting storyline is just awful, which is similar to actually something that I've said, which may be where the groupthink is really sinking in for me. I'm fully admitting that. Like, that's the thing that's getting into my brain here. But as I watch this, I'm kind of going, actually, it's not that bad,
right.
Going through here. So
I will say, absolutely, the Ivanova storyline is better.
Yeah.
It's executed better. It's acted better. It's written better. It is better. But that doesn't mean the other one isn't good.
Well, you also came out saying the Ivanova storyline is the A plot. Mm-hmm. But as we know from Gray 17 is missing, whichever part of the episode gets the title line, that has to be the A plot, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
TKO is a much catchier name than Shiva for an episode, right? Like
sitting Shiva,
unless it's the League, and that's a whole different thing.
Right. I did pick up something new out of this. Not new, actually. I think I've had this thought since we watched this for the first time. I just didn't know that I was allowed to say it or how the best way is to say it.
Okay.
But I'm going to say it now. Maybe it's still not the right way, but whatever. I'm going to say it now. Walker Smith is Eminem.
All right.
You know what I'm talking about? Talking about the rapper.
I know who Eminem is. Yeah.
I'm not talking about the candy. I'm speaking of the person, Eminem. Walker Smith is Eminem, and here's what I mean by that. Walker Smith goes in, and what does the guys say to him there in the mood of ring? You can't come do this. You're not one of us. This isn't for you. We're going to keep you out of here, right? Eminem enters a form of music that is not for people like him. Right. Hip hop specifically is 8 Mile, a TKO remake. But hip hop is specifically a black form of music, an African American form of music. It is. I'm quoting 50 Cent here, but then Eminem comes in and he does it better than most everybody else out there, and he's white, and y'all are tripping about it. I find an incredible parallel with these two things. Like, you can't do that because you're not okay. Let's take this thing that's happening in alien culture, right? Let's take this thing in sci-fi where we take a mirror of Earth society and we put it out there so we can see it for ourselves, right? You can't do this because you're not of my race.
Right.
Somebody said in the chat earlier, when Bruce Lee started wanting to teach martial arts to Americans, he was like, I don't want to beat up. A lot of Asian people came after him because you can't do that. That's ours. That's we can't allow those outsiders to come in and get our thing. Turns out, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the message is here, except for just, I feel that's kind of a dumb way to be about stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I'm also saying that as the white guy who's intruding on everybody else's culture and stuff, I guess. Like, I guess that's supposed to be the thing. But, like, do we really have to have those lines drawn? Like, if somebody's actually just good at it, does it have to matter?
I honestly think that the Mutado gave us the parameters for that. Like, there's cultural appropriation, and that's not okay. Then there's participating in a culture. And the difference is honor and respect.
Yeah.
And I think, like, Eminem is a great example. He didn't come in being like, oh, y'all suck. He just came in and was like, look what I got.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Lee, hey, you all don't know how to, nope, look what I'm bringing. Look what I have here.
Yeah.
I think it's I think that makes a lot of sense.
Jeff, did you get any other new messages or anything out of this watch through?
Just one we talked about a little bit, but the line that Ivanova said about Andre, that humanity doesn't belong in space until they can live peacefully on Earth. Like,
and
let's get our own house cleaned up before we go mess up somebody else's house, right? Like, people are talking about, we're going to colonize Mars, we're going to this. Well, don't get to ruin one planet and like kill a whole bunch of people and then go do it somewhere else. You got to take care of what you have. So not much. I just liked the line.
Counter argument, though.
Okay.
The Star Trek counter argument, actually going to space and getting in the stars. What if that's actually what helps us get our house in order?
So what happened in Star Trek is it wasn't necessarily us going into the stars, right? It was us showing we have the capability, and then the stars kind of coming to us. And I think that's a big difference.
It's not a direct parallel. I'm just saying, what if the thing that you're saying, we've got to do this first before we can go do that, when actually that is the thing that helps us get there? And are you cutting yourself off from an opportunity? But I hear what you're saying. If we're messing up our own deal here, why are we going to go just mess up somebody else's deal? As we've seen that in so many other places. And we've actually seen that happen in history.
Yeah. Right.
Look at the industrialization of Europe that spread across the world to destroy natural, beautiful land.
Yeah.
Elsewhere. Like,
Nia makes a good point though in the chat. Like, there's Andre saying that we have to take care of home first, but Walker had to go into space because home wasn't taking care of him.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. He had to go get the respect of the universe before Earth would give him the respect back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Jeff.
Yeah, we're there, aren't we?
I think we're there. We've talked about new things. We've talked about all the stuff. We're not going to rehash everything that we talked about in the middle of the video. A couple new messages that we have there. We've got really one thing left to do, Jeff. It's to place this in our 100% completely accurate, absolute, definitive ranking of Babylon 5 Season 1 for the second time. Jeff, I'm curious where this is going to go. Our current top 5 is Signs of Importance at number 1. Deathwalker is number 2. War Prayer is number 3. War Prayer is number 3? Really? Wow. Yeah. Sky Full of Stars is number 4, and Believers is 5. Jeff, I have a feeling this is going to find its way into the top 5, at least right now. Maybe not. Maybe it will. Where are you placing TKO?
Get ready for a shock. It's not going in the top 5.
I thought for sure it was going to displace Believers.
So that's the pivot point I'm looking at. But I think that was just such a powerful episode.
Sure.
Believers in so many ways, and just so much to bite off, but also what it does, like the launch point for Franklin's story. Like, Believers is an episode that has reaching consequences and impacts through the series. This was an episode that gave us some more depth to Ivanova and maybe appreciate Sinclair just a little bit more. So I'm going to make this one TKO, which was ranked number 4 in our first time ranking. It's going to be our new number 6.
Wow. We'll see if it stays there.
I did enjoy it more than By Any Means Necessary.
Yeah, I can see that.
Zento didn't quite push it over the Walker Smith can take out Zento.
Well, Jeff, that's going to do it for TKO this episode. Moving on. Jeff, we got a brand new episode for the second time on deck for next week. We're watching the episode called Grail. You and I have had a lot to say about this episode over the years.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things that come out of this episode that we continue to talk about. The biggest one, I think, is talking about how having the right guest star can elevate an episode.
Yes.
And I'm excited to dive back into this one. Jeff, do you remember, though, you should go back before we watched Grail. Actually, I'll tell you what. Let me do my prediction first.
Okay.
What I predicted, because it's, I think, going to affect some things.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember what I predicted. So
Here's what I said. I said, this is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. They're going to rip the whole movie off. They're going to be out looking for, and I said it couldn't be anything different. It had to be this. They're going to be out looking for the Grail. They're going to find a knight who's going to be like, you have chosen poorly and you have chosen wisely. And they're going to have 3 trials that they got to get through. It's a treasure hunt. It's a beat for beat ripoff of Last Crusade, and it can't be anything different. And if it's not, I'm going to riot. That's what I said. Jeff, what was your prediction?
I said that I think it's going to be exactly the same thing you think it's going to be.
You and I were so great on this one. Like, I've got it. If I'm one of you guys out there I hear us say that, and I'm just like, yeah, you guys are way off on this one.
We will get.
I mean, this is the one where we get full frontal Londo, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get full frontal Londo. We learn stuff about the dude.
Is it?
I think so. Is it not?
I think it is.
I think it is.
I'm
pretty sure. And
I know we get the
and
Jinx, so we get the knuckling feeder.
Yeah.
No, I think I think full frontal Londo is Quality of Mercy. Actually,
is it really?
I think so. It's much later.
Really? All right.
I think.
All right.
It's been a while.
All right. All right.
We're gonna exactly just how far off we were, which is pretty far. Next week when we come back here. Hey, we've been here for a long time tonight.
This has been a longer than normal episode, as was our first run through of this episode.
There's a lot to dig into in TKO. A very fairly ranked top 6 episode of the season so far. Join us next week. See where Grail lands. It's going to be awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell, like us, comment down below. If you're on a podcasting app, rate us, write a review if that's a thing that you can do on the app you're listening to. It's awesome. But regardless of where you're watching this, do us a huge favor, massive solid, and share this with somebody who loves Babylon 5, hates Babylon 5, has never heard of it. Just share it with somebody. People need to know how great this show is. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. Next time,
Jeff.
Yeah, Brent, what is up?
Hey, so I got a thing coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You may or may not know this. I've gotten into a little professional wrestling, a little MMA type stuff. And man, I was wondering, how would you like to stand in as my Katao?
What?
Come on, from the thing. My Katao. Katao.
What do you want me to do? You want to hire some cheerleaders or something?
Ah, dude, just come be my corner man. Be there when I need you.
All right, man. I will always be your Katao.
Oh, gee, thanks, Jeff.
I mean, we're not some deep space franchise. This station is about something.